The Lego Movie took pretty much everyone by surprise when it was released in 2014. Its unassuming title did not prepare audiences for its high level of creativity, wit, and most surprisingly, its genuine heart. When I first heard about the project, I assumed it was going to be a film about the creation of Lego, akin to the animated short film The Lego Story. If you haven't seen this short, you can watch it on YouTube. I'll put the link in the description. A sequel was actually announced before the release of the first film. However, it would ultimately become the fourth film in the Lego franchise. In 2017, two spin-off films were released. One which pretty much everyone loved, and one which pretty much no one saw. You could even say, you've probably never seen the Lego Ninjago movie. Finally, in 2019, 5 years after the first film's release, audiences were given the long-awaited sequel, The Lego Movie 2, the second part. Before we begin, be warned this video will include spoilers. This film picks up exactly where the first left off.
Well, things sure have a way of working out smoothly, am I right, guys?
We are from the planet Duplo, we are here to destroy you.
Oh, man.
You're going to have to get past us.
In fact, the sequel builds its entire premise around this gag. The revelation that the entire plot was actually playing out in the imagination of an 8.5-year-old boy named Finn was one of the most effective surprises of the Lego Movie. However, that kind of reveal only works once, meaning the sequel had to evolve. To its credit, the film takes this concept and runs with it, doubling down on the meta-narrative. Seriously, this film gets very meta at certain points.
This isn't even happening. It's all just the expression of the death of imagination in the subconscious of an adolescent.
I don't even understand what you're saying!
Just as The Lego Movie was the perfect title for a film about the imagination and creative freedom of play, so too the sequel is appropriately subtitled The Second Part, as it is the natural evolution of that story. The rivalry between Finn and his younger sister Bianca is essentially the central conflict of the film. You can sometimes hear the two siblings arguing in the Lego characters' dialogue.
You missed me.
No, I did not.
I had some very similar conversations with my brothers growing up.
This door was locked. You can't get in. Hey, you can't get in.
Let's see you lock it.
Hey, you can't do that.
I just did.
You can do that, but in the game you can't.
I love the reveal that Bianca genuinely looks up to her older brother and just wants him to play with her. It is both moving and poignant.
Those bricks inspired our world. We exist because of you. You started it. We started it? You started everything. We look up to you. Always have.
Admittedly, the meta-narrative doesn't always hold together perfectly, but, somewhat appropriately, neither would any narrative created by a child.
How is there outer space under this sidewalk?
I told you nothing in this place makes sense!
Unlike the first film, The Lego Movie 2 is technically a musical.
Oh no, are we in a musical?
Instead of feeling gimmicky, this idea grows naturally out of the film's premise. The musical element isn't introduced until Bianca begins to influence the narrative, and only kicks into high gear once the characters reach the Sistar system. Queen Whatever Watanabe's introductory song, Not Evil, is incredibly funny.
And there's no reason at all to be suspicious of me.
I won't lie, it's actually very suspicious that you're leading with this.
The song is even more hilarious in hindsight once it is revealed that its message was in fact genuine.
All we want to do is unite our worlds in peace. Why didn't you guys just tell us that? We tried. The queen sang a whole song about how not evil she was. That was the truth? You guys are terrible communicators. I know.
I can't talk about the music in this film and not mention Catchy Song.
This song's gonna get stuck inside your, this song's gonna get stuck inside your, this song's gonna get
You gotta be
stuck
kidding me.
inside your head.
It's just so much fun! Much like its predecessors, this film is filled with various pop culture references. However, these references are deliberately more grown up to reflect Finn's increased age.
You still want to go back to the Matrix when you know the truth?
What's the Matrix?
It's a movie only cool older mature dudes like us have seen.
The film examines the concepts of being grown up and mature. However, it initially does so from the warped perspective of a 13-and-a-half-year-old. One of the most intentionally trivial parts of the first film was the song Everything is Awesome. I don't need to include a clip, you know it. The sequel actually integrates the song into its emotional arc, with the phrase essentially becoming a metaphor for growing up.
That song was fine when we were younger, but we also have to grow up sometime.
Initially, Emmett is determined to make everything awesome again, while the other characters, particularly Lucy, are adamant that everything is no longer awesome. However, they ultimately discover that neither viewpoint is entirely correct. The truly grown-up attitude is actually a blending of the two. This is beautifully expressed through the genuinely inspiring song, Everything's Not Awesome.
Everything's not awesome. Things can be awesome all of the time. It's an unrealistic expectation. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't try.
Just like the Lego Movie, this film has a surprisingly sincere message.
It's easy to harden your heart, but to open it, that's the toughest thing you can do.
Of course, the film also maintains the distinctive style of humour for which the franchise has become known.
It's like it knows our every move.
Weird, right?
Emmett!
What?
Chris Pratt once again voices Emmett Brakowski. Emmett's optimistic outlook on life is hilariously unsuited to the post-apocalyptic wasteland known as Apocalypseburg.
Good morning, Apocalypseburg. Ah! Almost ran me over. Classic.
Not only does this create a lot of comedy early on, it actually forms the basis of Emmett's arc, and ties heavily into the main themes of the film. Pratt also voices Rex Dangervest, a caricature of the actor's most prominent film roles.
The name's Rex. Rex Dangervest. Galaxy defending archaeologist. Cowboy. Raptor trainer who likes building furniture, busting heads, and having chiseled features previously hidden under baby fat.
I'll admit the reveal that Rex is actually a future version of Emmett was more of a surprise to me than it probably should have been.
Wait, if you're me, why do we sound so different? Why do we sound so different?
Especially given Finn actually spoils the time travel twist earlier in the film.
No, I'm not gonna come for your dance party right now. I'm in the middle of a storyline with time travel and mind-blowing plot twists.
Taking the hero of the first film and having him essentially manipulate himself into becoming the villain of the sequel is an interesting idea, and is handled with a lot of maturity. Lucy, who everyone besides Emmett still refers to as Wildstyle, has a bigger role in this film, giving Elizabeth Banks more to do. One of the few major criticisms of the first film was that it suffered from Trinity Syndrome. The sequel addresses this criticism.
This guy was a fierce warrior,
Okay, well, technically, I did the warrior stuff, but...
so you fought and master built and kicked butt, and then the hapless male was the leader.
The rest of the main cast also return, including Will Arnett as Batman, Alison Brie as Unikitty, aka Ultra Catty in this film, Nick Offerman as Metalbeard, and Charlie Day as Benny. With the exception of Batman, these characters aren't really given a lot to do, but their limited contributions are highly entertaining.
Behold, the sister.
No woes! Do not give her the satisfaction of woeing this. That's even worse! Stop it!
Ghost Vitruvius is seen at the start of the film, but is quickly taken out of the action, never to be seen again. The reformed bad cop, good cop, now apparently going by Scribble Cop, also makes a fleeting appearance.
Morning, Scribble Cop.
Will Ferrell returns briefly as the voice of President Business. He is also heard off-screen in the real world, reprising his role as Finn and Bianca's father.
Hans, I could really use your help up here.
Kids, do the thing. What your mother said.
You heard your father's super helpful contribution.
The film also introduces several new characters, such as the aforementioned Queen Whatever Wanabe, voiced by Tiffany Haddish. Unikitty's younger brother, Prince Puppycorn, from the Cartoon Network spin-off series Unikitty, makes a very brief cameo. The film acknowledges the Lego Batman movie.
Where's Batman?
He's off having a separate standalone adventure.
Ray Fiennes reprises his role as Alfred Pennyworth, though the other members of the newly formed Bat family are conspicuously absent. Just as in that film, Batman continues to reference his live-action filmography.
How many movies have they made about you? Because there are like 9 about me, and like 3 others in various stages of development.
The song Gotham City Guys actually mentions each of the actors to have played the role on film to that point.
I ain't Selena Kyle, I ain't no Vicky Vale. I was never into you even when you were Christian Bale.
I'm more of a Keaton guy myself.
Oh, I loved him as Beetlejuice.
Also, Danny Elfman's iconic Batman theme can be heard during the song.
So what? You dig Superman? I don't care. But like, listen up. You're clearly just confused. Gotham dudes are the best. We have deep, manly voices and insanely ripped pecs.
The animation is once again outstanding, with incredible attention to detail. For example, during the prologue set before the events of the LEGO Batman movie, Batman's utility belt is printed onto the minifigure, just as it had been in the first film. However, after the time jump, the belt becomes a physical piece, as it was in the aforementioned spin-off. The film also features more non-LEGO objects than the first. The closing credits run for just over 13 minutes. However, they are actually one of the highlights of the film. While the rest of the film was created using CG animation, emulating stop-motion animation, the credits were physically created using actual LEGO. The sequence visually reinforces the film's theme of unity. It also features the best credits song since Jonah, a VeggieTales movie.
It's the credits, yeah, that's the best part. When the movie ends and the reading starts, you can keep your adventure and all that action. 'Cause the credits of the film are the main attraction.
The song even mentions specific crew members by name.
I can't believe they got Chris Connington to be the stereoscopic supervisor.
Being the fourth film in the LEGO franchise, as well as a direct sequel to one of those films, the LEGO Movie 2 has the disadvantage of not being quite as fresh. Despite going to space, the film can at times feel more confined than its predecessor. However, it does have a story to tell and something to say. Like all good sequels, it builds, pun intended, on what came before. It's also just plain enjoyable. Funnily enough, the only goof listed on the film's IMDb page relates to the misidentification of marine life. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Let me know how you feel the LEGO Movie 2 compares to the first film. Also, let me know if you're hoping to see a third film. If you liked this video, why not give it a thumbs up? Maybe share it with a friend. Or an enemy. Either way, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to see more content here on Channel 73.